What is up, and welcome in to the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann. I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-host. He's a Chicago Public League legend. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State legend. He played second base for the Tigers back in the day. He was all SWAC, and he's now the head coach at Simeon High School. He is none other than Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got our NFL draft analyst. You can see all his work at NBCSportsChicago.com. He had a mock draft up last week. How often are you going to be doing the mock drafts now?
Oh, I do them every week.
Every week.
When season begins, I'm doing them every week.
So definitely check him out, NBCSportsChicago.com. He is Glenn Morgan, our GM. Gentlemen, what's going on? We missed a week. I apologize.
Right,
I was in the beautiful beaches of Jamaica during the coldest span of the year.
They mad at you.
Sorry about that.
I ain't mad at you at all. I think we left. I think the last episode we left the people with a very good episode last time. So
it was.
So I think a week break, a vacation for you was well deserved.
Yes, sir. So when we left off, the Bears hadn't fired Lou Getsy. I think as soon as we posted,
they
let Getsy go. Yeah. So since we've been gone,
you know what that means?
If
they listened to our show, then they went ahead and fired him. That's usually
you gotta go. Smoking GM said you gotta go, man. So you gotta go. Sorry about that. But now the Bears have their new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, who has been in Seattle for the last 3 years in the same capacity. What do you guys think? Is it a good hire for you guys?
Yeah.
That's it?
I mean, I can't speak too much on it. I'll just say, and I'll be quick with it because I know GM got enough to say about it. So, but I'll say it's cool. I mean, I guess the fact that he was an OC and, so it's at least the questions we had were like Getsy. He didn't call plays. He hadn't been a play caller, never designed an offense. Those type of things we don't have to necessarily worry about with Waldron. So I guess that gives me hope. I mean, I don't really know what this hire tells on either spectrum. On are we keeping Justin or are we drafting Caleb? It doesn't, I don't really know. But just for that simple fact that he was an OC, he was only available because of the firing of Pete Carroll. So it just seems a little different from what the Bears typically do. Kind of got an experienced guy at that position, I'll say. So it was cool to me. I mean, I guess you can say what he's done for Geno, and making Geno a relevant, case in the NFL is a major deal. But again, the jury is out still to me. So,
nah. I'm going to assume a number of people have watched the Boondocks back in the day, animated on Cartoon. Was it Cartoon Network? Was it on or?
Mm-hmm.
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. Yeah. And there was an episode where I think either Obama had been elected or was about to be elected or something, and Huey, the older brother, who was a more militant brother, so to speak, like all of like 12 years old, is like, just out like in a parking lot or walking past a group of people. And they're like, hey, little man, hey, what you feel about Obama being president? And he's like, meh. What you mean? What you mean black enough? What? You in America? They just started giving him business because he was like, yeah, you know. And that's kind of how I feel about Shane Waldron right now. I mean, I hear what everyone's saying or a number of people saying, and the good points, like he's experienced. That's something that we didn't have before. He does provide, well, at least his examples show that he is um, malleable when it comes to the type of talent he's dealing with. So he's able to flex with, when he had Russell, then go from Russell to Geno, and those are two different types of quarterbacks. They really are, and even how they approach the game and how they see themselves in a lot of ways. And Geno definitely has matured from his, when he first came into the league to where he is now. But I look at that offense and I look at the talent on that offense, and it's much more than what we have had, much more than what pretty much we've ever had in my lifetime as a Bears fan. I mean, you have two killer receivers, two different type of, actually now three, because Smith and Jigba really showed to be a talent. And Metcalf is, hard to handle one-on-one, a dynamic receiver, and Lockett is super dependable. These guys know how to get open. There's a dynamism with their abilities out there, and that has shown in some of the big plays they've had when it comes to scoring. Their explosive plays. I don't know what the statistic is, but they're high up there in the league in terms of explosive plays that have led to touchdowns. Explosive plays being 20+ yards and so forth. However, the downside is when they're in the red zone, they're one of the least effective teams. And more times than not, you're going to find yourself in red zone situations more so than you're going to be scoring explosive plays. You may have a year where that happens, but that doesn't really happen year to year to year. But you do find yourself in a red zone situations more so year to year to year. And it's not just the wide receivers that are really talented on Seattle. They have two really good running backs, two young talented running backs. The rookie this past season, and Charbonnet from UCLA, and Walker from Michigan State the year before. And they have two good young tackles, and Lucas and I can't remember the other brother's name out of Ole Miss, but they had two really good tackles who are young tackles that you can build around, and the interior is solid as well. And even the tight end who they got Fant in the trade when they traded Wilson away. So I'm like, you got in the NFC conference is not a really strong conference, and even defensively there are a few good teams that are pretty good defensively, and Frisco's one of those teams, and Philly was one of those teams. I mean, the Bears are an up and coming defensive team, but outside of that, I mean, it's not like they're facing the Ravens or, the Bills or, the Chiefs this year or a traditional Pittsburgh team or the Browns. I mean, all those powerhouse teams in the AFC are in the AFC. So I'm expecting Seattle to be a top 5 offensive team, and I saw a team that struggled. I mean, I will say Drew Lock looked a lot, the backup quarterback looked a lot better. I think Shane has an ability to work well with the talent in terms of there doesn't seem to be like a lot of working against what they can do. It's just somehow on the field, it's just not showing the results, and that's a conundrum. I'm like, so why isn't this showing itself? And even last year, I mean, they did better. I think last year was more of a surprise, and this year they had more expectations, and they started out decently, and it just seemed like they floundered, and I don't know what the reason really was. So that's why I'm kind of like, okay. Upside too, several other teams wanted Shane Waldron. I think the Raiders were inquiring. I think it was a lot of teams that had defensive head coaches were inquiring. I can't remember outside of the Raiders or a couple other teams that were looking into trying to get Shane Waldron as well. Now, I think from what I hear, he has a really good mind when it comes to football. But again, you can be a genius, but that doesn't mean, you can be an engineer, but doesn't mean that you have your equipment where it works, for practical reasons. It's like, yeah, I know how to put it together, but to get it so that everybody else can use it and so you get production from it, that's two different things. So we'll see. The only other thing, and I know I'm being super long-winded about this, but the only other thing that I guess I like about the Bears acquiring an OC as early as they have is that it gives this new OC time to be with Justin to see if this is someone that he can work with, that he can acclimate his football acumen to Justin's skill set and see if the two merge, so to speak. And it also gives him time, him and the OC time, that if it is Caleb that the Bears, and when Caleb is someone that they start vetting and they start doing the interviews and everything, he'll be in place already and he'll have something to juxtapose Caleb to Justin with to kind of see, like, which this, that, or the other seems like it could have more fruition, down the line. So so at the end of all that, I come away with,
It's better than that, man.
I'm not pissed. I'm not pumped, but I guess it's more important that I'm not pissed. I mean, piss was Nagy. Piss was Getsy. I'm not there. I don't think this guy will do that. And when I say do that, I mean the things about Getsy and Nagy that would lend itself to passivity is the fact that these dudes were so stuck on what their system was, they weren't trying to acclimate to the talent around them. And that's to me, that's a coaching faux pas 101. I mean, I understand you have your system. I know you have your ways. I know you have structure, systems. Those things make sense. I get that. However, these are the players you have. So find a way to, meet in the middle somewhere, or find a way to weave that around what your players can do so that the players will in turn trust you and give you more of their all, and not just, a quarterback, but probably the players in general. I think a big fail you saw this season was that at times the team didn't trust in what Getsy was calling. So their commitment to executing it was partial.
We starting to see a lot of the players come out and speak on it.
Yeah. And you can see that with Getsy, but you can see that with other teams. You can see that in what the Bills were doing, how much differently that team played down the stretch once the new OC took over. You saw that in Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh looked like almost a different. Pittsburgh looked like, oh, dude, you might get got by Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Mason Rudolph all of a sudden looked like, Oklahoma State Rudolph.
That's what I was about to say. Are we sure it was the change at OC or just the change at quarterback?
Both
in Pittsburgh, but I'm just joking.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's well. I mean, Trubisky is crap, so I'm not saying him. But if Pickett came back, I don't think he wouldn't. That's why I think Tomlin, when he said, we're okay at quarterback, realized, like, I have a better OC. The team is moving and running and executing along the lines of what I've been accustomed to. And I believe both these quarterbacks, Mason and Pickett, like he has legitimate depth at quarterback. Now, Pittsburgh, when healthy, is going to be a problem next year. As long as they keep that OC or have an OC that knows what the hell he's doing. And, so it's not just me saying it's about the Bears because it's our team and it's a team that we see. I'm looking at other teams too and seeing how they have success and not success. I mean, you take Russell Wilson. Russell leaves Seattle. We see Geno step in, and we see that there's no drop off. As a matter of fact, it looked like there was more of an uptick. Some of that was, Russell leaving, and so the players felt like, it's not just about him, it's more about us. And then the players were even that much more galvanized to what the OC was calling. And then you see Russell go to Denver, where him and the OC, it doesn't work. And then Peyton comes in, and Peyton may be, a bit of a hard ass, but Russell played better because we see a better play caller. Shit makes a difference, man.
Still got benched.
Well, yeah, because Russell doesn't fit what he wants. Russell, and that's why I'm like, and this is the other reason why I guess I'm mad, because Russell is more of an off schedule type kind of quarterback. Out of structure type kind of quarterback. And if Seattle saw more consistency with their offense and some, for the most part, and less of a, here, there kind of thing with Geno in place. And it has got me curious that, I just lost my thought. But basically, with Shane Waldron, do they want someone who they feel can be more in structure? And I don't know if they think Justin can be successful doing that. Whereas with the young kid, they may feel like we get him now while he's young. He's more moldable. That's not a word, but you can mold him. He's more, he's something that you can mold
Man, I
more
don't
so.
know. You
That
just
might be a
scared
word.
you just scared me because you said a person who not off script. That just sounds like we gonna draft Drake May. That just scared me. That's what I just got from what you just said. Because there's no way you want to take Caleb Williams and take away that type of playmaking
Creativity.
ability. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's no way you do that. Like, so please, God, no.
Let me I want to give some kudos. I like the fact that they were able to bring in, what did they bring in, 9-10 guys
Like,
Something like that.
running
to
nice
interview, all from
bunches.
different, different coaching trees, mostly from that McVay Shanahan tree. But yeah, different coaches, and somehow nothing leaked about which way they're
Leading.
thinking, leaning
Eh,
for a
eh,
quarterback.
yeah, they
That
played
surprises me.
this. They played this as well as the fans to perfection on this one.
Yeah,
Because it was
yeah.
like every other OC. You had a few like Shane where you didn't really know how it portrays which quarterback but you bring in Greg Roman. Okay, everybody, that mean they
That
gonna
means
stick with
Justin staying.
Then you bring in Cliff Kingsbury. That mean this Caleb. So, so they had everybody just flipping and flopping like, no one really knew. Like you said, it was no leaks. It was interesting, but like GM said also, like to get it done early was different for the Bears, and like I think that is a huge piece here, like you said, for Shane to be able to sit with Justin, meet with Justin, do whatever he needs to do with Justin, and then go through the draft process with Caleb to decipher which way we should go. Like I'm seeing some change in the management department that we haven't seen.
Structurally, organizational structure.
And so that's a definite positive there, so
yeah, I agree with that.
And then going back to what Shane Waldron did with Geno Smith, I mean, you look back, Geno Smith was relegated to he was going to be a career backup. He was on that trajectory.
He was that trajectory.
He
wasn't on it.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I mean, he hadn't started or hadn't been the main starter for a team since the Jets in 2014. He came in with the Giants. He started a couple games with the Giants.
Few games,
not he wasn't the guy.
Well, he thought he was
with the Giants. Maybe he did.
He thought he was.
But and then all of a sudden, Russ leaves. Geno wins the job because they brought in Drew Lock to be
that's part of the trade. Yeah, that's part of the trade.
Yeah, and Geno won that job. Threw for almost 4,300 yards in 2022. One comeback player of the year.
Right.
Do you realize that he would be the Bears' all-time single season leader in passing yards if he were here in 2022?
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith would be, absolutely.
Wow.
This past season, he missed a couple games, but still, threw for 3,700 yards this year. And that would put him like in the top 5, I think, in single season all-time Bears quarterback. So obviously he he can work with different quarterbacks. That says a lot to me. I'm sorry, and I know that's low hanging fruit, and but hey, that's an upgrade. That's good.
Here's my question. So in Geno's 2 years combined, would he be the Bears' all-time leading passer or like second behind Cutler? If you combine his 2 years, he'd be second.
Man, well,
he might be second. He might be second all-time passing.
Well,
he's top three.
He's got to pass Sid Luckman.
Oh, well, Sid Luckman's got like what 6,000 yards passing. Stop.
But yeah, that definitely says something to me. Smoke, you brought up earlier the fact that he has experience calling plays now. He's done it for 3 years, as opposed to Getsy. It was like, oh, he was in Green Bay's system. He must have learned something from LaFleur. Just throw him in there. And I don't think he was ready for that jump.
And what we've seen is LaFleur is the guy. Don't hire anyone that is coming from LaFleur. Because what was the other one?
We saw Hackett. Hackett went to Denver
and
was not ready. Yeah.
Getsy, terrible. And LaFleur coaching circles around people. With Jordan Love. So
clearly they got a guy that has been his own man, and has a chance now to make a huge jump here, fairly quickly, hopefully. Now the question is what they're going to do at quarterback, and I don't want to get into a long discussion about Justin Fields and Caleb Williams. Who should they draft? I think we've gone over that, and we got plenty of time to talk about that. But that's next on the board now.
Oh my God!
But either way, whether we keep Justin, whether we draft Caleb, if both pop, we'll have a new OC. That's the issue there.
I mean, hopefully the quarterback. You hire somebody else who's in the same vein so that the quarterback doesn't have to make a vast adjustment. And then the quarterback has at least a basis of stability, of understanding his effectiveness in that type of offense. And then the quarterback hopefully should be able to have a voice enough to articulate more so I'm successful doing this because of X, Y, Z, as opposed to I did this back in college. For example, Lamar Jackson just recently this past game, first half they're having some issues with Houston's defense and what have you. And Lamar, goes to Harbaugh and Monk, and he's like, look, this ain't working. And I like we need a problem solved. Now my part of the problem solving is telling you what's not working and what's not happening out there. So you calling this isn't working because of this reason, that reason. Now I may not know what the solution is, but I'm telling you what the problem is. As opposed, I'm identifying a problem, and that's the first part of any kind of solution, identifying a problem. So, but my point being, Lamar was confident enough and well versed enough in this offense and confident enough in his abilities that he can articulate that, as opposed to the first time around when they were a first seed, they being the Ravens. I think it was his first MVP season, whatever. He was still not that vocal leader or that person who maybe felt comfortable telling the OC what can and can't work, or maybe even recognizing what's not working for him. You know what I mean? So to your point, yeah, if it was working, Shane Waldron leaves, maybe that year that tutelage and learning, Justin or Caleb, whomever it is, learns enough about what they're capable of doing that they can at least articulate, more so why X, Y, Z isn't working. Because this is Lamar's first season in a new system with Monken. You know what I'm saying? So, but he felt confident enough to be like, yo, this isn't working. They made adjustments in the second half and then they ran away with the game. So, and that's something that's part of the growth process that your quarterback has to have too. I don't know if Well, I'm pretty certain because we just saw it that like Justin wasn't really that dude. He wasn't really saying those things. He was again. I think he's been too deferential. Caleb, if that is who we end up taking and letting Justin go, Caleb, he has more of a carefree spirit. I think he's probably more of an iconoclast. I'm not saying he's disrespectful and be like, yeah, screw that play, but I think he's more willing to be like, yeah, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna do this. Whereas Justin fought against being me and being disrespectful or perceived disrespect by not sticking with whatever the call play was. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I just had a horrible vision, not vision, but just a realization that Justin literally is number 10. He's 10 all time in Bears passing history. As struggled and beleaguered as he's been these two and a half seasons or 3 seasons since he's been here, but the equivalent of whatever he's played game wise, 40 games. He's top 10 in 40 games.
I got one better for you.
Oh my God.
I got one better for you. Geno Smith will be the number 2 career passing leader for the Bears. He has passed Sid Luckman with
for his career, you're talking
for his
about.
career, yeah, 14,823.
Wow.
So
and that's just a backup on how many different teams?
that's a damn shame, man.
Oh my God. This organization's been around for 100 years. Dude, Jim Harbaugh is number 3.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's just insane, dude. Mitchell Trubisky's 5.
5.
That's
5.
even more insane. Oh my good googly moogly. Look, at this point, it doesn't matter who the hell the quarterback is. It's got to be better than what we've had career-wise. I mean, Justin stay one more year, he's gonna be top 3. I mean, not top 3, but top
5.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Because he's only like 2,000 behind Mitch, right?
3,000,
no,
a little over 3,000. 3,400, I think.
One good year. One good 3,500 yard.
No. He's 4,000. He's about 4,000 behind.
4,000. Okay,
Yeah.
so season and a half.
Yeah. Well, he could get 4,000 next year.
Yeah, let's get 3,000 first.
Yeah. His levels to this.
Yes, there's levels to this.
Not bad. So next, I guess he's Waldron's going to fill out his offensive staff. I know he's talking to a couple guys from Seattle now to try to get them to come over.
That was my other question. Like, okay, he's the OC, but who's his quarterback's coach? Who's the running backs coach? Who are these skill position coach? Who's the receivers coach? I mean, hey, if it's the receivers coach that Seattle has, then I feel good. I mean, if it's any of the skill guys, I guess that's not bad. I mean, I didn't know who any of those cats were that we had, man. I mean, it's like you look at what Detroit did and what Campbell did. Like, maybe because a lot of those several of those guys were players that played well.
That's why we knew them.
Yeah, but some of them coached too. Like Randall had been other places coaching before he came to Detroit.
Aaron Glenn on the defensive side of the ball. Deuce Staley was there
right
before going to Carolina and getting let go there for whatever reason. But he was in Detroit, and it's a part of that turnaround.
It makes a difference, man. You look at the Michigan Wolverines and their team, and Harbaugh had some of those guys who were former NFL players or NFL coaches, coaching that Michigan team. And coaching makes a difference, man. And experienced coaching, you cut through a lot of BS. You cut through a lot of figuring yourself out. Sometimes these guys are trying to prove themselves, and it's just like, the ego's getting in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Paul, have you seen the commercial with Jim Moore and Kevin Hart?
I didn't hear
DraftKings.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. I saw. I'm like, hey, I know. I was like, I'm like, I couldn't hear. I'm like, it's got to be, making fun of him saying playoffs.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to bring that back. I got to give him credit for that one. But it was good, man. Good weekend of in the divisional round. I mean, as bad as even the Ravens, won 34-10, but it was a 10-10 ball game at half. So
Yeah.
really, really good games throughout the weekend. Guess I'll start with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's not playing around, people.
Oh, that Ravens aren't playing around.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
insane.
dude, that defense. Oh
That,
my.
that number 0 that
Yeah.
used to play for the Bears is
Yeah.
ooh.
And they're not even healthy as they could be. Like Marlon Humphrey didn't play the last game. And Roby was stiffing there like, man, dude, you looking like how you did back in Denver back in the day. I mean, these guys are playing with such confidence, man, and such surety that it's like they're playing. It's sometimes you can see it in a team, whatever the unit is. I think sometimes it's easier to identify with defense because they enforce their will so much more dramatically at times through the physicality than you may see on an offense, unless it's like a power running team or whatever. But on defense, man, they just have that look like, like we got like there, you ain't get shit. I being here in Chicago, we've seen that. We've seen various iterations of those type of defenses where it's like, yeah, no, we the best motherfuckers on the field right now. I know our offense may stink, but you ain't getting shit on us. And to have an offense that's good and the defense that's playing like that, dude, I like Mahomes. I like these teams that are in the Final Four. For the most part, I like them. And I know Brandon, our coworker, is Mr. Mahomes through and through. But I don't think that Patrick is getting his second road victory this year.
You see how you hesitated to say that. You didn't
Yeah,
say
you're
that too
not ready.
confidently.
Right. You're not ready to say that.
Now, granted, Baltimore should be the favorite, but it is still Patrick Mahomes. So that's all. That's where I worry. That's why I worry. Baltimore definitely looked of the weekend looked like easily the best team in football.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it should be a no doubt that they get there. I just pray that same team shows up against Pat Mahomes.
Right. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes has played against a defense, maybe San Francisco in a Super Bowl. But I don't think in the AFC he's really going up against that good a defense. That talent and versatility. I'm like New England's defense was sound and disciplined.
But my
But they
thing
weren't on
is
that level though.
no. That's the truth. But here's what I'm going with it. Will Baltimore defense be what you've been seeing?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. They haven't varied from that. They haven't deviated all year from that. And defenses, they don't deviate too much to me like an offense may. Like your defense usually travels. Offense sometimes don't travel.
That's true, but Kansas City offense has looked terrible all year long, except for one game, and we know the game. We're not going to speak on that game. They look terrible all year long.
The game where they put up 40 points?
Yeah.
Okay.
They look damn good against against Buffalo on the road.
They looked effective. Nothing about them said to me this is still not the offenses that won those Super Bowls.
I can agree to that. But one thing I saw them receivers all of a sudden making tough catches when they've been dropping balls all year long. I saw Kelsey right back to didn't look like Taylor Swift's Kelsey. Looked like Travis Kelsey. You get what I'm saying? Like so I pray that the Baltimore Ravens get this done, but man, am I nervous?
I think they will, because I look back at last week's game against Buffalo. I don't think the defense let them down so much as the offensive players on Buffalo let them down. Because think about that Kansas City should have scored that one touchdown, and it probably let Nagy call the play when McCall Hardman came around on a sweep and got the ball knocked out of his hands, and it went into the end zone, it was a touchback because
that
should have been.
That was on Hardman though. I'm not gonna put that on the coach.
Don't call that damn play with that little motherfucker going around the side. Do that
How
shit.
about hold on to the ball?
That's it. You got to hold him accountable.
Hold on to the ball.
You got to hold him accountable.
I'm not saying he's not, but they tried that play earlier.
Please don't change the rule.
Yeah, no, don't change that rule.
I've been hearing whispers about that they're going to change the touchback rule if you fumble the ball into the end zone. No, that's football, man.
Yeah.
No, they tried that play earlier and didn't get much from it. That's why I was like, why are you calling that play again at the end zone? It's like we've seen that so much from them. I'm like, yeah, they're going to meet you there and hit the hell out of you because they already know where you're going.
But it was only a fumble because he tried to reach out.
Yeah.
He just go down. He's at the 1.
My point was that offense, well, the special teams tried to do something that they had no business trying to do. That was just goofy. And so that put that pressure on that defense. And they did what they had to do. They did their job enough. They held them. Hell, they even if they held them to a field goal, they would have done their job. And it was better, it turned out. But that offense is like, man, dude, like, make a catch. Like, bro, I mean, I think maybe Gabe Davis not being there. I haven't heard so many people talk about him not being in that game. He makes that catch that Sheffield doesn't make. And he's not falling on the ground trying to make the catch. He's probably standing up, making the catch and still running. Him not playing in that game, I think, hurt
You think
them.
so?
But dude, Gabe Davis is better than that Sheffield.
No. I'm saying you said he's probably catching that ball running. I didn't think that was the greatest of balls.
No. What I'm saying is Sheffield it wasn't, but Sheffield hasn't played enough to be used to Josh in seeing the trajectory of the ball. You know what I mean? Like Gabe's got that. I've played with you. I get how your ball spins. I know when your ball ain't doing what it normally does. He can make that adjustment. I think he would have made that adjustment to the ball. But Sheffield's adjustment to the ball wasn't very good. It wasn't a great pass, but you're dealing in the elements. You're dealing with some other things. It hung up in the air a little bit. The defender didn't do a good job adjusting to the ball either. It should have been. It could have been knocked down. Or even picked potentially. But I thought Sheffield, seeing the ball all the way, I don't think he adjusted to it well enough. And so it became a much more difficult catch. I think Gabe Davis would have done a better job than that. And Gabe being there maybe even made Shakur even more dangerous. But the offense to me let Buffalo down, not so much. Because what was the final score?
27-24?
Yeah.
27-24.
So against a talent like Mahomes, and that's, I'm not saying the defense couldn't have played better, but I didn't feel like the defense lost them that game as much as I felt like the offense. Because at one point it looked like it was just going to go back and forth. Sometimes you just have those games where it's just back and forth. Like the defense is like, look, dude, we're trying. Everybody both sides like we're trying our best, and then it stalled for a little bit. But I don't see Baltimore doing that, man. I don't see them. I'm more worried about if Baltimore's going to execute on offense. That's the thing. If they execute on offense like they have been, I don't think the Chiefs stand a chance.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to go to Green Bay and San Francisco. San Francisco escaped with a win there at home.
Overrated.
Yep. Oh man, that was one of the most frustrating games I've watched in a while, because as a Chicago Bears fan, we are forbidden from rooting for the Green Bay Packers. But I could not help myself but to root for the Green Bay Packers in that game.
No,
I wanted them to win. I wanted them to win.
I could not help myself.
I wanted them to win.
Couldn't help myself.
How about you, B?
I could not help myself. One thing that I want to put out there, and I want to say this loud and clear for guys like Alex Brown, who loves to say, that quarterback in Green Bay, I want a guy like that. No, you know what I want from Green Bay? I want a running back like that. Aaron Jones is the truth. He's the truth. It seems like the guy never gets hit going backwards. He's always getting positive yardage. That is what makes that offense go.
It does.
Having a running back like that. 2, what I was pissed off about is Green Bay defenders had too many chances for picks, and I'm talking pick sixes that they caught against Dak Prescott that made the national media go crazy on him. But you drop it for Brock Purdy. Y'all probably sense what I wanted to say.
It was
raining. Drop it for Brock Purdy.
It was raining. The ball was slick. That's Brock Purdy.
If they catch those picks, that game is not even close, man. It's not even close. And that's what frustrates you about the game of football. 1 week, Dak Prescott is a bum because he threw a pick six. The next week, Brock Purdy is a god because a pick six was dropped and he had a weak ass game winning drive.
Well, it's because the ball was thrown. It was a poorly thrown ball, but it was thrown just right so that the defender would miss it. So
right. Man, Green Bay should have won that game.
They should have. Dude, I was pulling for Green Bay because, to me, I'll tell you who I was pulling for. Our division rivals. I was pulling for Green Bay and Detroit because I felt like the further both those teams advance, the more it should signal keep Justin. True. Get behind your quarterback, develop him, and invest in him, and they will get you there. And neither one of those quarterbacks, although Goff was a number 1 pick overall, he ain't that dude. And you know that because if he was that dude, he'd still be in LA. And Jordan had sat for 3 years, so he wasn't that dude because he sat for 3 years. But both those teams, both those organizations invested differently, but they both invested in those quarterbacks, and look at them now. And you can't tell me either one of those two are definitively better than Justin as far as their skill set. They're more accomplished than him right now, but they've had different circumstances, better circumstances than Justin. But you can't tell me they're more talented than him. And if I can have the more talented guy finally have some investment put in him, then damn it, why can't we be where they at? I mean, look at what the freaking Buccaneers did with Baker Mayfield. That dude's been bouncing around. That offensive coordinator was new to being an offensive coordinator, but they built slowly, they built consistently, and then they got better as the season went on. They were one of the hotter teams at the end of the year. I'm just saying, man, that's why I was pulling from Green Bay. There's a cultural reason too.
I had that thought as well. Because like I said last week when we talked, you change the quarterback. I don't care that he's a rookie. The expectations is 10 wins.
Yeah.
So with Green Bay versus a Detroit Lions NFC Championship matchup, it's gonna be real hard for a rookie to come in and make that jump. It's gonna be real hard. Your best bet is to hope Justin pop, or if he fail, you okay. Because my thing is, you falling in the same cycle with a rookie quarterback. It's gonna be really hard for him to come in and win.
What's going to be a tough division.
What's going to be a tough division. Minnesota's going to bring Kirk Cousins back. So what's going to be said when we are last place in the division with the savior, Caleb Williams? What's going to be said then?
Next year.
He's a rookie? You can't say that. You can't say that next year for him. You can't. I know you was telling us you got to give him a chance, but you cannot say that for him next year.
Sure he can. He's a rookie. Yeah, not that hard.
Yeah, you can say it. But
hey, by the way, I'm kicking Anthony Davis out of Chicago. He can't.
Oh man, you should have been. You should have been did that.
He got hurt again.
Dude,
he a Packers fan.
He showed up to the game in a Packer jersey.
Yeah, he a Packers fan.
Oh,
that should have told you everything you need to know. That's why the man stay hurt.
Yeah, he can't come back to my city no more. Sorry.
But yeah.
Speaking of the other division rival, the Lions Bucks.
Good
That
game.
was a really good game.
Yeah,
really good game.
Happy for Jared Goff, man.
Yeah.
Happy for Jared Goff and the city of Detroit.
And Dan Campbell, Mr. Old, bite him out the kneecaps. Because we was all laughing a few years back.
Yeah, that's true. Man, it's funny. I saw somebody share a post from Jamil Hill when he got hired saying this is the guy black coaches are losing to. Like saying like not getting jobs because of a guy like him.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, man.
Reminds me of a former Chicago coach talking about his trajectory right now with Ditka.
Like
Third year of a bad franchise. He told him he was going to get him to the game. Year 3, he's in the NFC Championship game. Same thing that Ditka did in '84.
Well, I'll say this about Dan Campbell. I like the fact that he's hired so many brothers in coaching positions. Aaron Glenn, at one point he had Deuce Staley, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's had some
still
other.
Got him?
No, Deuce
ain't there no more.
Deuce went to be the assistant head coach in Carolina.
Oh yeah, he got fired.
And he got fired. With Frank Reich.
And not only that, but who does Campbell work for?
Brother.
Yeah. You know, and it's like, and Campbell's vibe to me is I don't give a F. These are the people I rock with.
He fits Detroit.
And you know, he does fit Detroit. He really does. He really does. So yeah, I hate to say it's a division rival, but I'm not pissed at the Lions. You know, good for them.
They are a likable team.
Yeah. I'm just screwed with David Montgomery, but everybody else I'm cool with.
you know what I like most about the Lions, and to me, it's the Lions why you should keep Justin. If there's one team in this division, we know we give problems to. It's the best team in this goddamn division. Justin has his best games against them.
Even Trubisky did. Go figure.
That's right.
Hey, I'm excited for him. I'm happy.
So championship games this week. The first game is, I think, Chiefs Ravens is going to be the first game, and then the late game is going to be Lions in San Francisco.
You got to flip that.
Both are Sunday, right?
Both Sunday, yeah.
You got to flip that. Detroit Frisco should be first.
Yeah, that should be first.
But I guess because it's San Francisco, it's West Coast. So.
Don't they swap? Don't the conferences swap the games each year? I feel like yeah.
But it might be what GM is saying, the time zone.
The time, yeah. 49ers for a noon kickoff. Noon local time kickoff.
Wait, because it'll be noon there.
It'll be noon in San Francisco, yeah.
East Coast time, yeah.
So it should be a good championship weekend on Sunday. Got some news today. Some shocking. I know when I saw it, I was a little perplexed. Adrian Griffin fired by the Milwaukee Bucks.
You were shocked about that?
Considering the fact that he just got hired. He's only 40-something games in. What are they? They're 30-13. They're second in the East.
It's crazy. I'm not shocked about it though.
No,
what I'm shocked about is the hire, the replacement. That tells me y'all don't want to win. Y'all fired him for what? To hire dude? Oh, good riddance. You're not going to win.
Wait, that's also within the hour. Doc Rivers is the well, not the head, because he hasn't been hired yet, but he's the number one candidate.
And then it was
hired. I will agree with you that, like, really? But yeah, he's second in the East. I don't get, unless something, like I said, something could have happened.
Well, they were having issues with it. It was appeared that the players were having issues with Griffin earlier on in the season. So that's why I wasn't shocked that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were talking about it on like the different sports shows, like what's going on with Giannis and Griffin. Like it was like Giannis was talking back to him or yelling at him or not paying attention to
But
him.
he
It was
yells
different things like that.
Giannis yells at everybody though.
I mean, but it was a point of emphasis. So that's why it didn't shock me that this happened. Like I said, I'm just shocked at who they replaced him with.
Man, you're not even halfway through the season.
It's tough. Like it's unfortunate. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not shocked.
I mean, from what I remember, he used to be a Bull, and I know that he's well respected around the league, even back when he was a player. That's what shocks me about it. And like I said,
he was on tier staff, right?
40-something games. He was, yeah. 40-something games. He was also in Toronto.
That's not a great.
But he was in Toronto with I think he was there with Nick Nurse, for their championship run. So yeah, he's been some places. Just 40-something games in. I don't know if I can remember a guy getting fired like this with a winning record.
Yeah. Maybe David Blatt. David Blatt might be it.
That was, but he was there for longer than a year though. Black got to a finals, didn't he?
Yeah,
I think he was only there for 1 year.
Yeah, but he got to a finals.
But he got to a finals though.
That's what I'm saying. That's even crazier.
Well, actually, Byron Scott.
That's even crazier. Black got to a finals and got fired.
I remember Doug Collins.
That's even wilder.
Doug Collins got the Bulls to Eastern Conference Finals and got fired
right
after that.
Let's see, David Black, because it was in year 2 when he got fired, and they were like 40 and something.
Well, we forgetting about Byron Scott. Took the team to 2 back-to-back championship appearances, and they got fired halfway through the following season. How do you fire a guy that your organization got to a finals that had never ever been to before? That's the guy you want to get rid of?
Yeah.
I mean, why? Because he yells at the players, or he looks side at them? I mean, get over it.
If your star says I can't deal with this guy no more, it's a players' league, man.
Yeah. So David Blatt
gotta get over that.
Went to the finals in year 1,
right,
with the 53-29 record. He was fired in year 2 with a 30-11 record.
Wow.
So this Adrian Griffin thing is light work. That man went to the finals and was 30-11 the next year and got fired. That's insane.
That's crazy. Like, what do you want? Like, what are you doing here?
Well, the good thing is his contract's guaranteed, so he'll be paid through this. But yeah, I think that sucks for Adrian Griffin personally. I don't know the inner workings of what happened, but hey, that's messed up. Last thing before we get to picks, the Baseball Hall of Fame made their latest choices today, and I'm not gonna call it lackluster.
That's a meh.
But over the Bears offensive coordinator. This is meh. Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, Joe Mauer. They all I was we were looking at this earlier. I guess they all deserve it. Beltre got to 3,000 hits. Helton may have too, now that I think about it. And then
Joe
Mauer. I remember going up to Minnesota when Joe Mauer was in his prime, and he might as well have been God up in Minneapolis. The way that he was praised.
Todd Helton doesn't have 3,000.
He's got 2,500.
Mm-hmm.
2,503 as a first.
Yeah, this was This was we're bored pickup.
5-time All-Star.
Yeah, this is pretty bad.
This Todd, yeah, this is interesting. 5-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger, 2,519 hits, 369 homers. He hit 316 for his career. That's not bad. That's nothing to sneeze at. Huh. All right. Man.
Yeah, that's pretty
Man.
bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
why do you think that usually there's like this, ultra
Fanfare.
fanfare that leads up to, the announcement of the names. I honestly didn't know this was happening until I saw the article.
Because of the ones that they have nominated, or that even they're not pumped. Even they're like, yeah.
You know what? It's gonna hurt me to say. What killed the Hall of Fame was now the Hall of Fame has had its issues with no Bonds, no Pete Rose. Guys like that are not getting in. But to me, what officially killed the Hall of Fame, and this is gonna probably trip a lot of people out, Mariano Rivera going in unanimous.
Why?
Because okay, you had Griffey was before him, right? He was like 99 point something. Then it was Mariano win 100. Then Jeter was after that. You don't have any other players of that magnitude coming outside of the steroid era guy.
Was Mariano the first to be unanimous?
The first 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
First 100%. And he's the only. He's the only.
There was always a guy that wouldn't vote for a person just to make sure because your guy Babe Ruth wasn't unanimous. So how can they be unanimous? But
put a made up person in the Hall of
Fame. But
might as well put me in there.
That's the interesting way to look at it. I'm looking at the next names on the list. Gary Sheffield Billy Wagner was the closest at 73%. You got to get 75%.
Look at Billy Wagner. Are we fucking serious?
Gary Sheffield is next. Andrew Jones, Carlos Beltran, A-Rod, Manny Ramirez, Chase Utley, Omar Vizquel. Actually, he's still on the list. Bobby Abreu, Jimmy Wright. A lot of late career White Sox on this list.
Yeah, it's bad, dog.
There's no one there. Andy Pettit is at 13.5%. He's probably not going to make it.
But that's what I'm saying.
On allegations.
Most of the best guys you named are steroid era.
Yeah.
So, outside of the steroid era, those surefire Hall of Famers was Griffey, Rivera, and Jeter, and the amount of votes they got was crazy. So now they don't want to have, because didn't we have an instance where we had a year where everyone's in
they don't want
to have that no more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the issue. Just my thought.
No.
You cannot ignore the steroid era that revived baseball.
I said that they should go ahead, put those guys in, but then it should be noted because basically the Hall of Fame is a museum, right? You can't erase
what
history.
They did.
Yeah, you can't do that. But you should. I think you should mention what happened during that era.
Put the damn Mitchell report in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how you can. You can't have and I've changed on this over the years, but you can't have a Hall of Fame without Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, A-Rod, Manny Ramirez, another one. I have an issue with that. So but Smoke, good point though. That makes sense. Yo, fellas, let's go to picks. And since we didn't do a show last week, we had to go back. Our last picks were for the wild card round. I've dug myself out of the cellar, people.
Oh, I'm in last place.
I went 3-0. I'm
Dang.
24-21 now.
Wow, that's impressive.
Smoke, you went 1-2.
Damn.
You are now 22-21-2. And Glenn, you are still in first place. You went 1-2 as well. You're 26-17-2. So for the first time this season,
you don't have to pick first.
I don't have to pick first. Smoke, you are on the clock. What do you got?
I'm going both dogs. I'm going Chiefs +4 and Lions +7.
Chiefs +4 +7. I'm actually going. I think in real life, I'm going to play the Lions. That 7 points is enticing. I'm gonna go Ravens -4, and I'm gonna go Lions +7. Glenn, who you got?
I'm going to take the Ravens minus. Hey, sir, you sure it's -4, not -3.5?
I'm on ESPN, so
yeah, I'm looking at because we agreed to go Caesars, and Caesars got it at 3.5, -3.5.
We go there.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, that's fine.
So I got Caesars. I got Caesars. I got the Ravens as -3.5, and I'm going to take the under for that one, which is 44.5. And then I'm going to take the Lions +7 against the 49ers. So I'm still go 3. I know y'all were scared to do 3, but I'm gonna go ahead and do 3.
All right. Good
Dude,
luck.
Look at that over and under for the Lions and 49ers. This is in the 60s.
Woo.
Damn.
I would definitely take the under in that one.
Me too.
Yeah, actually, you know what? 33-30. That could be that final score in that game.
I don't know about that.
You know what? Let me switch that. I'm going to take the under in the Lions and 49ers. That's a lot of points, man. I mean, both their secondaries are weaky.
All right.
Both their running games are good. Yeah, I'll take the under in the Lions, 49ers, Lions +7, and then Ravens -3.5.
All right. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. We want to thank everyone for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch our podcast at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also catch us at hp53productions.com. There you'll find a link to our podcast and the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs and yours truly. Yo, Glenn.
Yep.
Please take us out.
Hey, it's like we always say, everybody, we ain't saying we're right. We just don't think we're wrong.
Catch you next week.
Hey.